wipe real quick and make sure that my camera is clean as
Welcome, welcome,
possible. That's
welcome.
better.
Welcome to Sisters on the Move, the live interview series amplifying women owned businesses inside a Sister Circle Empowerment Network. I'm your host, Ida Crawford, and today we are exploring the world of dreams with Sheila Balgobin, the Dream Decipherer. Sheila is gifted at unlocking the secrets of your dreams to surface hidden meanings and create real life clarity for a more fulfilling life. We'll hear her story, practical tips for remembering and interpreting dreams, and how you can engage with her products and services. As we talk, share this stream to expand her reach and browse her offerings at crackyourdreamcode.com. Be sure to drop your questions in the chat. So, Sheila, we're thrilled to have you here. So, let's start with what first drew you to dream work.
Well, it wasn't really something that I looked for. It was something that happened. It's something that belongs, is a gift, a family gift that passed down through the women in my family. So it wasn't something I developed an interest in. It was already there.
Okay. All right.
It's like
So,
we're having trouble with the sound.
uh,
Uh,
yeah. So, how do you support your clients with their dreams?
Well, people come to me with regard to their dreams for different reasons. It could be that they are having nightmares, or they may be suffering from post traumatic stress disorder. It may be that they're just interested in dreams. So people come to me for different reasons, whether it be to gain clarity about a dream that they're having, or they're suffering with poor sleep, perhaps. So, how I work with them depends on what it is that's in front of me, I guess is the best way to put it. Sometimes it's helping people to gain clarity around a dream, to see it may be an issue that they're not acknowledging or unaware of. It may be, like I said, they're at a crossroads in their life and may need to gain clarity on the next direction to move in. So it just depends on where they are. And I have to meet them where they are to be able to determine the best way forward.
Okay. So, how does one begin to collect memories of the dream?
Well, a lot of people are come to me and say, "Oh, well, I don't remember my dreams," or "I don't dream," or "I dream, but I can't remember them when I wake up." And in fact, that's quite normal to forget your dreams. Up to 90% of a dream can be forgotten within the first 5 minutes of waking up. And that's for everybody, including me. So it's a very common thing to happen. But there are things that we can do to be able to up the odds a bit with regard to retaining memory, because every creature dreams. And in fact, I somebody sent me some time ago now an article about somebody doing research in the Amazon around spiders who dream. And in fact, in the Just Minding My Business magazine, I talk about that in an article. But every creature, it seems, dreams, and it seems that what they're learning from spider dreaming or lab mice dreaming and whatnot is that it seems to be linked to our ability to learn. And so that they're learning more about human dreaming from animals dreaming, which is quite fascinating. But so we all dream, whether we remember or not, we do dream. But there are things that we can do, as I said, techniques and simple tricks, actually, or tips that you can do to enhance your ability to retain your dreams. And the other thing, though, the flip side of that is that the most important part that you need to remember will have the most energetic charge behind it, the most energy behind it. So that's what you will remember. So there may be minor details that you forget, but the main thrust of the dream will, because it has the most energy behind it, is what you remember. So
Okay.
I mean, so there's a lot, it's deeper than people think, but it's very simple as well.
Oh, okay. Because most of the time, I hardly ever remember my dreams. Um,
Mhm.
and I know we've worked together on a few things in terms of my energy levels and things that I had shared with you about how I was feeling in that moment. And
Mhm.
from there, you were able to extract some things that I hadn't even thought of.
And that's what dreams do. They are indicators of the things that, we take our eyes off of. The things that either we push to one side because we don't want to deal with it, or because we're truly unaware. It's something like almost hidden in the background and we're not aware. So dreams have a tendency to, among other things, the dreams have several functions, but one of the things they do is to say, float up a little flag that says, hey, look over here. This is important to you.
Mm, okay. Okay. Because I know sometimes, I have energy drains and I'm not quite sure where they're coming from. And
Mhm.
it's not necessarily a I never rarely can remember my dreams. You already know. I really gotta focus.
Well, but do you remember the feelings? And that's the key. Dreams are really about our inner feelings, known and unknown.
Mm,
So that if you follow the feelings, you will often find, or generally find, the meaning behind the dream, because it's about our feelings. So, you're absolutely right. You need to follow the feelings, follow the breadcrumbs that your own soul is leaving for you with, the feelings, and then link it back to what is going on in your life, because the dreams don't come out of nowhere. They don't come out of the ether. Even when people back were dreaming before the pandemic, were dreaming about the pandemic that was coming, they had, no sense of what they were dreaming about. But they were dreaming about bugs, they were dreaming about Asia, they were dreaming about China. But, and it was up to me, and these were people like literally on all corners of the planet that were coming up with these dreams that were coming to me at that time. So we can pick up from the ether literally what's going on around us, and that can influence what we dream and how we dream, especially when it's planet wide, or galaxy wide, if you will, in its implications. Um, Many people will pick it up. This is why scientific discoveries are made in different parts of the planet at the same time. There's a delightful book by the woman who wrote the book Pray, Eat, Love. She did another book called Big Magic, and I know from experience, I read that book and I laughed my whole way through it. And the reason why, because it said, in essence, that if a dream, you don't pick up on something that a dream is showing you, it'll go to somebody else. And I know that's true because it happened to me. A recipe I created with my husband in the middle of the night, years and years and years ago, turned up years later in a cookbook, because I didn't write it down, somebody else did. The energy went someplace else. And that's what dreams are trying to do, to lead us to a different space.
wow, that's amazing. And people don't realize the importance of their dreams and what they really mean.
Well, people do, but it's where you're talking, where these people are located. Because if you go, I did a talk a couple of years ago now, with some ladies online in Hong Kong. I had been invited by someone who had been part of my leadership training to speak to the ladies there. And even though I was speaking through an interpreter, and it was brilliant, because the culture is so linked into dreams still, they had lots of questions. They were bringing dreams. I mean, it was just amazing. It was the most lively discussion I have ever had around dreams because they got it. You know, if when I talk to people from Africa, when I talk to people from Australia, you know, if Dreamtime in Australia, or you talk to Native Americans here, I mean, they're all still linked into dreams. It's the us sophisticated folks, and you know, who have learned from Freud and Jung that you know we're all full of neuroses and whatnot. That it's become the league of science, the realm of science, and it's funny why that happened. This happened in the 16th century, believe it or not. You had the church, which rocked and ruled, and then you had people like Michelangelo and whatnot who were kind of breaking the rules. And the church said, "Yo, you can dissect the body to find out how everything fits together for your sculptures, Michelangelo, but the the soul belongs to the church." And for them, the soul belonged here and in the heart. So you had this split between mental health and physical health, as if we walk around without heads, or we're talking heads like here without bodies. So it's, you know, it's really quite, you know, a diabolical, but because we've gotten so sophisticated and so scientific, no longer just here. Yep, there we are. We're back. I think I've lost my host for a moment, but in essence, Western society has become so sophisticated that the things of the spirit, and that's where we are today. So dreams are just the result of cheap wine and cheese at night. Um, they're not callings of the spirit, or or you know, or the universe trying to tap us on the shoulder about something. So I mean, that there's that split between mind, and you know, body, mind and body over here, and then spirit kind of out there parked someplace. And that's the problem, because people don't believe their dreams. They'll believe their doctors, their lawyers, their preachers, their teachers, everybody, but the wisdom that comes from within themselves.
And that's so true. That is so true. So, can you give us an example as to where a dream actually changed someone's life?
Well, I'll tell you how it changed my life. I'll give you my own story. I lived for many years in London, as you know, and I how I got there in the first place. Like, my husband and I had met many years ago. I won't tell you how many years ago, but I'll just say many years ago. And in fact, he was my second husband, but I met him first. So you see, and I have to say, you know, I'm a New Yorker, so it's like I get things done quick. So I meet the second husband before I meet the first one. So, but um, we got married, but I had, because of the way we got married, I had to return to the States and reapply for a permanent visa to stay with my husband. So I returned to New York, and I was from London, and I was having these dreams, nightmare after nightmare after nightmare, every single night. Every single night, I wake up in a cold sweat, sheets drenched, shaking like a leaf, and it was about shipwrecks, and ships going down at sea. And it's like, I'm not going on a cruise. I don't know anybody that's going on a cruise. What is this? And I couldn't figure it. And the fact that I couldn't figure out what it meant scared me to death. literally scared me half to death because I didn't understand what I was dreaming. I wrote it down, but something happened to change things, and I made a decision. I made a decision that okay, in the background. Well, I have to give you the backstory. While I was in New York, I was trying to get my husband a visa to join me in New York from London. And every time I pried open the door, it would slam shut on me again. And finally, I said, you know what? Later for this, I've had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. And I made the decision to return to London. The visa that I needed to return to London came out in 3 days. 3 days. I was fighting to get a visa for my husband for a couple of months. Nothing. 3 days I got my visa to return to the UK. And then as once I made that decision, something else happened. I stopped dreaming. I stopped having these nightmares, rather. Not that I stopped dreaming, but I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't having these nightmares anymore. Okay, I go off. Da, 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 da. I go off to London. I'm there about a year. And I was going back to work from lunch, and because I lived near where I worked, I was working in the doctor's office, and I went home for lunch, and I came back, and I back into the clinic, and people are running around, they're screaming, they're crying. I'm like, what the hell? what happened during this hour that I was out to lunch? And then somebody said something, tower, hit, plane. And my mind went completely blank because I knew in that second what the dream was about. I knew. And I walked through the towers every single day as a stockbroker for Lehman Brothers, which was another bullet I dodged because they went belly up. So when I say that I believe in the power of dreams to change lives, certainly did. And the other thing was the other dream that I had that was what I call a big medicine dream actually brought my second husband and I back together when we married. So that's two major shifts in my life, or two major events in my life that could have gone in a very different direction if I hadn't listened to my dreams. And that's still the case today. There's some things going on right now in my life, and I'm following, as I call them, the breadcrumbs of the universe, and listening, because when you don't listen, you get slammed. Let me tell you, figuratively and sometimes literally.
You ain't never lied. For sure. You got to listen and pay attention to the small things, because they typically mean more than what you think they mean.
Absolutely.
So if people want to work with you, how do they do so, Sheila?
Well, they can get in contact with me. I mean, either through the website, or they can drop me an email at Sheila, SHEILA, at thedreamdetective.me, and drop me a line that way as well. And there, you can find me on social media pretty much everywhere. Just look up the Dream Decipherer. There's not, I don't think there's anybody else using that moniker, so you can find me quite easily. And for just as a special treat for the people who have come on here to this live, and stay to the end of the live, 7 people will get a consultation with me, a full consultation of an hour, where we either can look at their sleep patterns and see how they can prove they're asleep, or we can look at a specific dream, one or the other. And that's a $150 value for that hour. So, I mean, but I'm happy to give that away to 7 spectators who come on and have stayed to the end as a thank you.
All righty now. Well, I am so happy that you joined us today. And we're not going to talk about how the devil was working with us prior to this.
Oh my gosh. I have never had so much trouble to get onto a live in my life. And like you said, the opposer was busy, but it's like, I put my angels on it.
Oh yeah, I love my angels. They always looking out for me, literally.
Absolutely.
Well, absolutely a big thanks to you, Sheila Belgavin, for sharing your wisdom on decoding our dreams, and thanks also to you, audience, for tuning in. And visibility becomes viability when we like, share, and buy. So make sure you head over to crackyourdreamcode.com to explore products and services and connect with Sheila directly. If this sparked insight, tag a friend who's been puzzling over a recurring dream and pass this along. And we also would like you to follow Sisters on the Move and a Sister Circle Empowerment Network for upcoming spotlights. If you're a woman owned business in our community or want to become a part of our community, you can reach out to me at jmmbradio@gmail.com. So, again, I'm your host, Ida Crawford, and this is Sisters on the Move, where we discover, support, and scale together. So, see you next time. Many blessings to you and yours.